that outside all taken care of for this morning. It was an awful cold start out to there today, around -30 for the overnight low. So of course pretty chilly, but that's okay. Got all the garbage changed out, did a quick walkthrough through all the parks, so now I'm inside. And I'm going to be working on a little bit of propagation this morning. Hopefully things will warm up a little bit outside because I have a bunch of stuff to do out there this afternoon. But I'm going to get going right here with just a little bit of a propagation start here for the morning. Alright, like I say, this is just not really a tutorial on how to do propagation. There's a lot of other people that are much better at explaining it than I am. I just wanted to share you a little bit about how I'm just going to cut this poor little guy up and get some new plants. So as you can see, he's really quite healthy. There's actually new growth coming out the top there, and so that's really nice to see. And they're just getting a little unruly right now. They don't really fit under the grow lights anymore, so it's a perfect opportunity to take this guy, get him cut up, and start new growth with him. So that's what I'm going to do here. It's super straightforward. All you're looking to do is make a cut somewhere at the bottom of the stem here, in between two nodes. So we want to cut in the internodal zone, which I don't know if you can see there or not, but basically every junction where a leaf comes out, you want to cut in between two leaf joints. If you can see that there. So in this area right here is basically where you want to make a cut. There we go. And that nub is where a root is going to shoot out of. So you want to make sure that has a leaf and a root. And you can cut them up into all the little individual bits here. The other thing that's super important too is make sure your scissors are disinfected or sanitized between cutting different plants. You don't want disease to be able to hop from one plant to another. So just make sure that you clean them in between cuts. Okay, so the next group of plants we're going to propagate here is a sansevieria. So again, very, very straightforward. I'm not going to do everything on camera here, but I'll just kind of show you. We can see. You want to select one leaf here, and you're going to cut, again, sanitize the snippers between cuts, but going to cut down at the bottom here, take off a leaf like that. Now when you are cutting them up, I mean there's lots of different ways to propagate these, but I'm just going to do what's easiest for me here. And I'm going to cut them into about 3 or 4 inch sections. When you are cutting them though, just make sure you keep the cut oriented to the way it was growing originally. If that doesn't make sense, I'll show you here. So you're going to cut about a 4 inch section off like that, and you're going to make sure that you want to stick it in the water the same way that you took it off. So the same direction that it was growing essentially. If you put it upside down like that, you're not going to have any luck. But if you grow it the right way like that, you should be all good to go there. So I'm going to get these other mother plants all sliced up here, and we'll go from there. Okay, there we go. So we got all the tall leaves, or most of all the tall leaves cut off of these mother plants here, and they're laid out here. So the next thing, like I say, is just to trim them up to about 3 or 4 inches, making sure that their orientation stays the same when we go to put them in the water here. So that's the next step. But as you can see, you get quite a lot of leaves off of there, and then what you're left with is basically a really trimmed up version of what you had before. These plants are very robust, you know, you're not going to hurt them like this. Actually, this guy, this one, there's a lot of new ones around. This was originally just 3 plants that I had stuck, and then they shot out all these other babies. So they grow really, really well. They propagate really, really well, and they're super easy to do. So I'm just going to keep going on there. Okay, there we go. The sansevieria has been all cut and put in their little jars there. So I'm going to let these guys dry out and callus over for a little bit, just to give them a better chance to heal up that cut wound there, and it'll give it a better chance to create roots a bit later. So I'm going to leave them in those jars for a little bit before I add the water to them. Okay, so over here we have our mini monstera. So there's the mother plants, and here are all the cuttings. I got about 40 in total, so that's pretty good off of 4 little plants there. I've placed them in the water, so they'll start being able to drink right away. And after about 3 to 4 weeks, I'll move them out of the water and put them into something a little bit more permanent, which is probably more like just a wet sphagnum moss type thing. Give them a better chance to root in there. But yeah, so the cuttings are done. Now I'm heading back outside. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be working on is just going to go check out our electric fence here. I have that set up to keep the deer out of our apple trees, and just going to make sure that it's still working and connected there. So I'm going to go quickly check that out. Okay, there we go. So I just got up to the field here that I wanted to check out. So it's the one that we did the sunflowers in this summer. It's about 2 acres in total, and I was a little torn this fall. Normally I like to clean up the fields before fall and winter come in so that they're nice and fresh to start with in the spring, but this year I decided to leave the stalks of the sunflowers up, and as you can see there, a lot of little birds enjoying it, so it was nice to leave them up for a nice forage supply of food for the little songbirds over the winter there. The other added benefit too about that is not only does it give them a place to, you know, hide out and get some food, but where they're eating, they're also going to the bathroom. So that's a lot of extra little nitrogen boost to when I want to plant again for next year. Whereas if I just tilled them all under in the fall there'd be less forage for them, so there wouldn't be the birds hanging out there as much. So just another added benefit to letting things be natural a little. Now I've got my electric fence set up, and it runs down, I don't know if you can really tell in the shot or not, but all the way down there to those big black trees in the back, and then it shoots across to about center screen at the back there, and then loops itself back around. So the idea behind that is to keep deer out. I planted a lot of trees that the deer seem to enjoy, and even though it's the winter time right now, there's no leaves or flowers or anything for the deer to eat, they still will eat the soft wood on those trees. So I'm just going to do a quick check, make sure the electric fence is still up and ticking, and making sure that it's still a deterrent for those hungry deer. Alright, so here you can see is a good example of why we check the fence. The fence has been caught up on this tree here, and actually looped itself on there quite good. You probably can't see it in the footage or not, but these branches here, it looks like that's been snipped by a deer. So because he could get up to the tree, he was able to get a branch off of the tree. So I'm just going to let that loose and see where she lies. And looks like it's going to need to be tightened up quite a bit. So I will go on there and make sure that the rest of the fence is free from obstruction and it's doing the job that I need it to do out here. There we go. So just had a quick walk around the perimeter of the fence here. Everything looks like it's in tip-top shape, so that's fantastic. Should hope to keep the deer out for the rest of the season, but I'll keep checking, obviously. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I wanted to do up in this field. Just check out the electric fence, make sure that it's all working good. And yeah, I guess I wasn't really making videos in the spring and summertime when I planted this, but we got about 2 acres here that I put into sunflowers, you can see. And that was mostly utilized for the peony and pine branch of what we do, the photography thing. And it went really well, I think. You know, it was the first time I've ever planted this many sunflowers, so it was a big, steep learning curve for me there. And from what I understand, everything turned out pretty good photo-wise, and I'll probably throw up some pictures here of what they all turned out like. But gonna do it again in the spring, get probably a similar variety. I put up, I believe the variety name is Gold Rush, and it's a multi-branching variety, so it shoots out like a lot of little heads, which is great because that way there's always like a new bloom coming on that plant. You don't have like that single stem, which is great for like bouquets and stuff, but when it comes down to the repeatability of that plant, it kind of is a one and done. So the multi-branchers are the ones that I like the most for this context anyway. And 2 acres planted by hand. It was a super bad drought this year too, so I ended up having to do a lot of watering just to get the seeds germinated, and cover them of course with mulch straw, just give them a little bit more protection there. But really looking forward to next spring, next planting season, because I've got a lot of great ideas already as to what we're going to be doing differently, and again, what things worked out, what things didn't work out, and ultimately every year the goal is to make improvements on what you did the year before. So the most important thing that you can do in anything that you're doing is just to start. You know, you're never going to have it figured out 100% the first time you do it, so just start, you know, and from that first try you can always make improvements. But if you get stuck in the planning phase, I'm getting bogged down and you'll never start. So that's what I learned this year. Like I say, just get them in the ground, take care of them, and I think we had a lot of success. So really, really looking forward to next year and what that looks like for a sunflower patch for sure. So yeah, I don't know. Do you guys grow sunflowers at your place? Probably I know a lot of you would for sure. They're an easy thing to grow. They're beautiful. They come in a lot of different colors and shapes and sizes. And yeah, what varieties do you guys grow? Maybe there's something that I could be doing better for sure. So yeah, we'll keep moving along here. There we go. There's my supervisors. They don't seem to be too impressed with what I'm getting up to for work today, but in all honesty, they never really seem to be too impressed with me. You know, that's okay though. They're super tough, but they are fair. Oh, there we go. I think he just told me what he thought about me filming him. And on that happy note, I will continue on my way. So the next thing I'm working on here is going to be a little bit of a surprise until maybe the next video or two. I'm going to get it started, and I'll show you the whole process, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. So if you have any guesses, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys think I'm up to. But yeah, I'm just going to get started on that, and we'll go from there. So basically, it's going to be involved filling a bunch of little trays with some colored water there, and obviously making some ice. So anyway, let's get started with this project. There we go, got all the ice trays filled up and the color mixed around in there, and got a nice little rainbow pattern here, which I think looks really cool. So the next step is just to wait and let all these things freeze up overnight. So like I say, lows usually this time of year we get down to about -30, so there's no problem with these freezing up. I do have them under the overhang here just in case it snows. I'm not going to lose them in the snow, and they just should keep a little bit safer tucked up to the building here as opposed to going out in the field there to do them. But yeah, that's going to be a fun project here. If you've made it this far in the video, I'd love to hear what you think is going on here. Feel free to leave a comment down below there, and let me know what you think I'm up to. I'd love to hear all of your opinions for sure. There we go. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up here for me today. I'm getting a little bit chilly, so I'm going to go inside and warm up. But I want to thank everybody for stopping by and watching today. Really do appreciate it. So yeah, thanks so much for spending some time with me. Hope you have a great rest of your night. Take care, and we'll catch you later. Bye now.